What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at some brand new Pokemon in Season 22 of the Go Battle League. We're looking at updated move sets with Furret, Medicham, and Galarian Weezing just to start out the season. Furret got access to Swift and Trailblaze. Medicham has access to the buffed Dynamic Punch, and Weezing has access to the buffed Sludge. So we're going to be looking at Weezing with the recommended moveset and why I think that might actually not be the best moveset for Weezing. It's kind of debatable. But yeah, let's just hop into some battles. First opponent of the season, this is my very first battle of the season, is Chillis FM, who is an incredible battler. And he is running his own Galarian Weezing, but he's running the Shadow, and he does outpace the first move, and then he comes in with Sableye. So far, we lose the lead and we lose Switch, so not looking too great so far. He does, however, let us get to an Ice Punch, or a second Ice Punch, I should say, but that doesn't matter. He's still able to get the full farm down. So what are we going to do here is what we're going to come in with Weezing, and if he's running Foul Play and Dazzling Gleam, his moveset is completely walled. I do get one turn switch, unfortunately, so if he gets off a move on 1 HP, then unfortunately, I mean, he's going to get an extra claw through either way, so already not looking great. But the Weezing, and then he comes in with Dusclops in the back, so he's taking super effective damage with these brutal swings. And I actually bank one and then switch in my Furret because now this is just a pretty neutral matchup. Obviously our fast move Sucker Punch is resisted here, but we can still pace decently well, and we won't die from one move here. One move is not threatening, especially a brutal swing. Had he gone for Sludge, that would have done a lot more damage with the stab, but he's just going for the brutal swing spam. And he does Stampede on us on the next one, but we grab a shield and we're able to snipe with our own Weezing at the Sludge. This is neutral damage and it actually KOs from that range, and we're able to get a brutal swing off onto this Dusclops. Dusclops probably completely walled except for a neutral Ice Punch on to our Furret, and he's probably already at 2, so we are kind of forced to let one go, but we're saving the shield for the next and we can survive. Dusclops not the greatest attack, and we actually beat Chillis FM for our first match of the season. Absolutely insanity. Okay, another bad lead. It is Mandibuzz. We come in with Medicham, and we do outpace because they're on Air Slash. We would outpace either way, but unfortunately this means their fast move is super effective here. That being said, we can probably just soft lose this matchup. Getting these Ice Punches, they do some decent chip. Nice super effective coverage here, and if he doesn't throw right away, or if he goes for the full farm down, that's going to let me get to a third Ice Punch here, which is really nice. And it doesn't KO, but it does put him in the red, and at this point we can just soak up this damage on Weezing. Either or would be fine, but getting a Sucker Punch farm down would be uncomfortable, so just kind of coming in with a Weezing, and it's Lapras in the back, and I'm going for a little bit of chip here with a stab Sludge here, and it does a decent amount of chip, and then we come in with Furret, and they do overfarm perfectly right before we get to the Trailblaze. They throw the Sparkling Aria, which is obviously the new move on Lapras along with Psywave, and once again throwing right before we get to the next move, and unfortunately they have enough energy where they would actually get to another move, but they actually try and snipe with Mandibuzz. I do not throw my energy, I hold on to it. I can take one move here from Mandibuzz. I'd rather take a move from Mandibuzz than the Lapras, and at this point I'm at back-to-back Swift, so it's up to my opponent what they want to do here, where they want to use the shield, and they let it go, and it's more Peko in the back. So this Swift will do some decent chip, and it doesn't grab a shield, which is actually kind of surprising. And at this point I'm just staying in, forcing them to throw their energy, and they go for a Psychic Fangs and they undercharge so that they can come out with a Psychic Fangs loaded, but unfortunately it was just too much and they get Sucker Punch down for the win. The Azumarill. So this is a pretty neutral lead. Obviously Sucker Punches are resisted, but Trailblaze is super effective. So this is about as neutral as it gets. One move from the Azu will not KO either. Furret, you're going to see in these matches, actually has some decent bulk to it. So we do pretty comfortably take a play rough, and we do make it to a Trailblaze, and they actually switch out at the perfect time, trying to get that catch there, but they are unsuccessful. We come in with a Galarian Weezing after banking that energy, and one Sky Attack is not enough to KO here. And this is one instance where I kind of wish I had the Dazzling Gleam on the Weezing here, but I do not. I'm running Sludge and Brutal Swing. And there was, I think, another match, I don't know if I have it in these 10 battles, where I was up against a Drapion came in, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'll bring in my Fairy that takes only neutral from poison. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't have any coverage for this. Anyways, they have a Stunfisk in the back. I hard pivot into my Medicham. We're able to bait back out the Azu. And that Dynamic Punch does pretty decent damage there. They do make it to a play rough here, but I can just comfortably shield this up and then over farm. And then I throw right before they get to their next move. This would be enough to KO, so they're going to have to use a shield. So I actually snipe with the Weezing. They do not throw right away. And then they throw instantly after shielding that up, and then they throw a resisted play rough. So maybe they're on play rough Hydro, I'm not really sure. But either way here, I can just come in with the Furret, go for a Trailblaze to boost my attack. Once the Stunfisk comes back in, and unable to get to another move here, but I have the Dynamic Punch loaded. This is super effective. Is it enough to KO the Stunfisk from this range? It is, and then it's just the Azu in the back, who doesn't have a move yet, but either way we outpace, get to the Ice Punch, and from 1 HP that's going to be enough to KO. Into the next match, we've got Steelix on the lead. So this is a pretty neutral lead, both of us hitting for neutral fast move pressure, and then they come in with Annihilate. So this is looking like the team I used to hit Legend already. So we are seeing a lot of very meta teams, I think, as you've already noticed. These were my first 10 battles, like I'm not even kidding. People are running hard meta in their first 10 battles, which is absolutely absurd to me. Not even trying out Pokemon with new moves like Steelix and Annihilate. Like what are you doing? I don't know, I don't get it. Either way, my opponent is counting perfectly, and they throw the Rage Fist on CMP. I'm just going to go for a Brutal Swing and take the 2-to-1 shield scenario here, which is pretty nice. And then they come in with the Steelix. At this point, I throw the move and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hard pivot into my Furret because I don't know what's in the back yet. And Medicham is good in the Steelix either way. And then they end up staying in this matchup. So now I'm wondering, did I make a mistake? Maybe it's a Ghost in the back. And if it is a Ghost in the back, I might be screwed. But I was thinking originally jump left because I was reading my team. But I believe it is neither. I'm trying to remember what that third Pokemon is, but we're about to find out. And it's a Swampert. So this is the first buffed Pokemon that we're seeing on this team. I could go for a little bit of a bad manners catch here on the Hydro. We are successfully able to catch that, and at this point, I can just go for a Dynamic Punch right before they make the next Hydro. This probably won't KO because it is the non-Shadow Swampert. They do survive, but I am able to make an Ice Punch before they get to... They'd have to get to 3 Hydros there to win that game, so yeah, they're not doing that. Able to take the win. Hitmonchan. Okay, this is a terrible lead. Gonna get into the Medicham. And then they meet us with a Runerigus. So this is where it's really nice to be not running counter and having Ice Punch, because we get to these Ice Punches really fast. They are counting perfectly. They throw right as they get to the next move, but I call the bait, and they actually throw a Sand Tomb. So not even running Brutal Swing and Shadow Ball, opting for Sand Tomb instead. And then we grab both shields of the Ice Punch. I'm not really sure why, because one Ice Punch would not be enough to KO. It is super effective, but it doesn't KO. And they go for another Sand Tomb, which means we can actually get to a third Ice Punch. So we're up 2 shields. They can't really threaten us here. They come in with their fighter, so now we have perfect alignment. They did not want to concede that full farm down, and they're running Power Up Punch on the Hitmonchan here, able to get to the Sludge, and that basically KOs from that range. Sludge is actually a really good move now, and it is Whiscash in the back. So this game is over. All we need is Furret to sweep this game. I can let this go because Furret just has to get to 1 Trailblaze against the Whiscash here, and it'll be able to 1-hit KO. And then it's just Runerigus in the back, which has Sand Tomb and either Brutus Swing or Shadow Ball or maybe Rock Tomb. Either way, none of them are going to KO Furret from this range, and I want to go for that 2 Shield Flex. And they go for a BM Shadow Ball, and we're able to take that win. And I believe that was my first 5-0 set of the season. Obviously, my opponents aren't as good. Well, I say that, but I'm up against like Chillis FM and people that are running hard meta, so maybe that's not true. Anyways, we see a Shadow Pidgeot on the lead in the next match, and they actually no-shield the first, which makes me think they're not going to Feather Dance here. And they do. They just go straight Aerial Ace, but they do not want to concede the farm down. I should be coming in with my Medicham here, but I got scared that they might be running Shadow Ball, and I was too slow to switch. So at this point, I'm kind of committed to staying in and getting some more chip, especially after I Trailblaze to boost my attack. So I may as well get off another boosted Trailblaze and then come in with the Medi. Because even at this point, if they decide they want to come in with a Pidgeot, I am 1 Cycle Cut away from an Ice Punch, and that's exactly what happens. I accidentally overtap and click 2, and they shield and then they throw. So this is fine for me. Able to grab the shield, gonna maintain switch advantage. The Pidgeot is so low. At this point, we can probably just Fairy Wind farm them down. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I go for the full Fairy Wind down. What is that Pokemon in the back? And it's Diggersby, so there's not really any way to win this game. And this is another instance where I really wish I had a nuke move, because look, they even shielded the first because I built up like I had it. But I have to just go for non-stab Brutal Swings, which is really rough. And they make it the Scorching Sands on CMP. I do kind of have to shield this. My Furret is literally at 1 HP. It's kind of just going to be acting as my second shield here. So there's 1 shield. The question is, can I catch? I can, but is it going to be enough? Probably not. All they have to do is make it to 1 Scorching Sands before I make it to like 3 Brutal Swings. And I believe, as I did not see a quick attack sneak through there, that this is another CMP tie, which it is, to the Scorching Sands. So unfortunately, we are going to lose this game. Once again, my opponent is just running pretty hard meta. Not much you can do there. Serperior on the lead. So this is a pretty neutral matchup. What I usually did is I would just throw the Swift on CMP with the Frenzy Plant. And that does put them in the yellow. So maybe this isn't the best IV Serperior. But they do full send the Frenzy. At this point, I'm in Aerial Ace range, which means I need to throw on 5, which is exactly what I do. So I CMP tie them once again. And we're actually able to grab a shield. Not sure if that would KO. It looks like by the first maybe it would have, but it is on CMP, so they do take me out here. So I come in with Weezing, and then they pivot into a Dunsparce. So I am more than comfortable letting 1 Drill Run go here. I can even farm up and then go for the Dynamic Punch. I'm not even in another Drill Run range, especially because rollouts are resisted here. They're nerfed, they're resisted, and they shield that. That's really interesting. Maybe they're weak to the Medicham in the back, but either way, able to farm up, get off another Dynamic Punch here, and that puts it deep into the red, and they go for a catch on a Azumarill, where they're unsuccessful. I'm able to make it to a Sludge, and look at this buff damage. It used to take 3 Sludges to KO an Azumarill. That did more than 50%. Granted, this might not be the best IV Azumarill, potentially. It also looks like it might be just underpowered. I think 1463 CP I'm reading up top. So maybe just an underpowered Azumarill, but still absurd damage from Weezing with that Stab Brutal Swing buff. Really super nice. I just farm up to back-to-back. I knew they were energy dry, so I was able to do that. And this is just looking like a absolute Galarian Weezing sweep. All 3 KOs on the G-Weezing there for the win. Into the next match, we've got Clodsire. Like, why are you running Clodsire in the first 10 games of the season? Absurd. Either way, this is a neutral lead. It's going to be slightly negative just because Clodsire at bulks, and look at that Trailblaze does nothing. But one move will not KO from my opponent either, so I can take that pretty comfortably. And then they actually give up switch, and then I don't throw, and I try and catch a grass knot on my Weezing, and I'm unsuccessful, which isn't great, especially because now they're up energy and they can get to the Rock Tomb and debuff our attack. This is the buffed Rock Tomb, so pretty cool to see that here. And they actually overfarm, allowing me to get to a second sludge because they're trying to throw in good timing. Doesn't quite KO, and they still are going for good timing, throwing one more Bullet Seed, but this will not be enough to KO, just barely. So I live, able to get the farm down, and I don't give too much farm. I also get a Brutal Swing off here, which is pretty nice. And at this point I can align my Medicham, and it is a Superior in the back, so it's a good thing I did because now I have an energy lead on my Medi, which is exactly what I need in this scenario. I could take an Aerial Ace here, but I know I need HP on my Medi to deal with that Clodsire. So I am going to throw one before they make it to their next Aerial Ace, go for the Ice Punch, and if I can grab 2 shields from my opponent, I have 2 Swifts banked on my Furret, which is super nice here. So I can throw this Ice Punch, switch into my Furret, snipe with the Swift, and if they don't throw right away, or because they didn't throw right away, that allows me to get a second Swift off on CMP, which means they lose all of that energy. They go down with it, and they're probably going to be forced to throw because Poison Stings just don't do damage. And I'm going to get to this Trailblaze, plus the Sucker Punches really add up. They're forced to throw their energy here. I believe they are at back-to-back Sludge Bombs here, but we are not in Sludge Bomb range because we preserved our health. We do get 1 turn lag because what's more consistent than that? But fortunately, our Psychic eventually goes through, and we're able to take the win. Into what I believe is the second to last match of the video, Grumpig. So brand new Pokemon here. They come in with the Mandibuzz, so unfortunately my opponent getting very hard walled here, but that's what you get for running Mandibuzz the first day of the season. What can I say? Unfortunately, this is another match where I really wish I had Dazzling Gleam. I think I'm gonna go for an all-stab moveset next time I run this Pokemon. I believe that the Brutal Swing coverage does make sense, especially on one of your main weaknesses, which is Psychic, but I still feel like I need that nuke in these kind of scenarios. Like in this situation, it's nice. They've only seen Sludge, so maybe they don't know that I have Brutal Swing as well, but able to get that off. They do have an energy lead, so I am going to throw as soon as I get here because they do have Dynamic Punch for coverage now. And I'm willing to double shield. They actually bank double Dynamic Punch and then come in with Superior. So I kind of have to just let this go. And Aerial Ace, obviously, it's going to take at least 2 plus the Vine Whips. I just have to be really wary of how I use my shields because they have 2 Dynamic Punches loaded on the Grumpig. And they do full send a Frenzy there, which is pretty nice because that means I can overfarm a lot. Get to this Ice Punch, and they actually let it go. I try and snipe with a Sucker Punch, but I'm unsuccessful. And I should throw here instead of just going for the fast move because I know they have another move loaded. But they throw instantly, which means their energy dry. And even though they're like 1 HP, they are in Psycho Cut farm down range, and we're able to take the win. Into the last match of the video, another Azumarill lead. Like, no offense, but if you're running Azumarill, Clodsire, or Mandibuzz in the first day of the season, like, what are you doing? Either way, we're going to get to this Trailblaze. We outpace to the first move, which is really nice. We're always having a pacing advantage in this matchup. And look at the Sucker Punches. These are resisted Sucker Punches that have put it down in the yellow. Granted, they overfarmed, and we are able to survive 1 move here. But they're already at another move. But I am just going to match shields in this matchup, I think, and then just overfarm as much as I can. And I could probably start going for Swifts at this point, especially because I've already boosted my attack twice. But I do go for the Trailblaze, and it's a good thing because they just let that go. I just go for the Swift here because they were going to make it to foul play on CMP, and my opponent actually apparently lost count. And look at that, able to get that Sableye all the way down into the yellow, and now we come in with Weezing because their energy is walled. But unfortunately, they have Corsola in the back, which is not great for us because I have Medicham, and Medicham obviously does not want to see Corsola at all, so I'm kind of just forced to stay in this matchup, and this is where it is nice to have Brutal Swing, but I don't know, I'm still not sure yet, but I am forced to throw before they get to their second move here, just the spamminess on the Weezing here. I am going to force them to throw by staying in, and they do throw in CMP, which is a really nice play, and they're actually still on return. So this actually could get scary, but fortunately for us, they're not on Dazzling Gleam, which means their pacing is worse with return, and we're able to get to the Ice Punch and take that win. So yeah, that's a look at Furret, Medicham, and Weezing. I'm definitely highlighting Furret in these matchups because I thought it was a lot of fun. It surprised me with its bulk. It's a very neutral Pokemon into everything that isn't like a dark or a fighter. So like if as long as you don't see like Primeape, Annihilate, and I don't know, Manabuzz maybe, then you're pretty solid with this Pokemon. At least it's probably going to be neutral in most cases, and having that grass Trailblaze coverage is really nice. I think it makes a really great pair with Weezing. I'm not convinced with Medicham as the third, especially because it's very easy to be core broken by a Mandibuzz. So for that reason, I think I would switch Medicham with something else, or maybe I would lead Weezing, use Furret as, Furret as a safe swap, and then maybe something like Malamar in the back instead. So similar coverage to Medicham, just slightly different. But yeah, that's a look at the brand new season. Let me know what you think of these Pokemon and the video. And until next time, peace.